Hey everybody, Dustin Young here, Lone Roamer, and this video is going to be all about the Vorsprung Secus and how to take it off of one fork and one length air shaft and put it on another fork and a different length air shaft. The cool thing is you're going to get to see a lower leg service, so if you've wanted to know how to do one of those, it is a part of it. You are taking the lower legs off. What I do when I take them off, I'm going to go through the entire lower leg process, make sure everything is great. They're off, I might as well, even though I think I did this less than 10 rides ago as a natural part of the service of this bike. We're going to have a lot of fun doing this video today. Hopefully a really cool walkthrough on how to do the service. Lower leg services are really easy. You just need basic tools. So I'll get into that as well. So even if you don't decide you want to tackle your own Vorsprung Secus install, we're definitely going to get into a lower leg service, and so you'll at least get that out of this video. Let's get started. Take off the air cap, set it aside. You're going to need it. You're going to want to let the air out of this thing. It didn't suck up, so I got lucky. Sometimes whenever you do something, you have a lot of extra negative air chamber, or it just happens. They start to suck up as you let the air out. You can try to hold them down, but if they do it, the port is, right there. Take this off, bottom it out before you take anything else off, and if you cycle it maybe half an inch, it's not very much, just cycle it a little bit, you'll hear that air getting out of this can and out of the negative chamber. And if you take 32 millimeter, chamfered socket, and on a Fox 36, and you just cycle it until it stays down. Because as it comes up, keep doing it. Sooner or later it'll stay down, then you can throw that back in, you'd be all done. Okay? So I like to start with my fork turned up. That way what oil's in it stays in it for now. This is an 11 mil. So we're gonna take this off, get this lined up, and then very nicely take this off because there's O-rings on there. Okay, so that comes off pretty easy. I keep all my tools put away, or all my parts, nicely on towels, and I'll spread out as many towels as it takes to keep those tools put away, or those parts put away. Okay, so now that that's done, that was an 11 mil. This is 15 mil. Okay, these are torqued really nicely. You don't have to get too excited with them. Okay, so here's the trick. You got a couple of ways you can accomplish this. Especially since this is different than it was. This would have been 12, that'll be 12 mil, you'll see when I go to take it apart. So thread this back on. They make a thread on tool, but again, this has changed. So just come in here, tap that in, see? I use a nice impact hammer, that's it. That's all there is to getting that thing to go in. Just give it a nice tap. That one wants to slide in on me. There we go. That one's now loose. Make sure this one stayed loose. All right. We should be good to go. Take the two nuts off. Remember, you want to use sockets. Do not hit the end of these. You don't, I'm using an impact hammer, so I shouldn't mar the threads. But if you smack this adjuster, the rebound adjuster, that's probably all she wrote. Okay, so whatever you're going to collect your oil in, loosen this up just a touch so you can just rotate, but not enough that it rotates on its own. Get this kind of lined up. Slowly knock that off until you see the oil come out. Let that oil get out of there. Right? Let this get cleaned up. Now, I have this thing I like to do. It's preference. Okay. Take these all the way off. Nice and easy. Since none of this needs to be replaced. I stick these in here with a towel in the bottom and leave that underneath. It's just a preference. I've always sort of done it this way. From here, take yourself a nice lint-free towel. Blue shop towels, that's all you need. Wipe your stanchions off really good. Okay, clean this a little bit of oil, it's gonna drip. You'll notice there's a big difference in the color. That's because you use 5-weight oil on the damper side on a 36 and Fox 20-weight gold oil on the air side on a 36. You even want to put a little back in here. You want 3 cc's, 10 cc's, 40 cc's of oil or milliliters. Okay, so once I get that done, as you rotate this back up, and part of why I keep 2, that way what drips should have a home. Get yourself a nice flathead screwdriver. Okay, just slide this around, it'll pop right out of there. Again, when you take a good look at this, you can see the spring clip has one end like that. That's to get the screwdriver under and do the work. When you stick it in, try to be careful. If you pry it around, you do not want to mar the cashmere coating. So it's worth taking your time here. Okay. That is how quick you can get a set of lowers apart and an air spring out. If you weren't doing a Secus, you just want to change travel length, done. Grab the right one, put what you need in it, slam it back together, torque it all up, you'd be out of here. But we are going to do this next. So, I'm putting this one back together, and it was set at 160, which for my wife was making her feel like she was off the back of the bike just a touch on her Yeti. That her SB130. It did come as a lunch ride. All it did was make the geometry a little off. 10 mil, not a lot, but a little. So I have a brand new 150 mil air spring I've had laying around for quite a while. And we're just going to put that back in. Since it's a brand new air spring, comes with a new nut, crush washer, everything we need. We're going to use a little slick honey, slick oleum, SRAM butter. It does not matter. They are actually all the same damn thing. Go ahead and all your seals, get a little bit on there. Make sure you get all your seals lubed because they all need to have a little on them. I put a little bit extra on the top, not too much. Some people like a good dab, I don't. I make sure everything that's going to slide has a little on it. Stick that air spring right back in there. Just like that. That's now a 150 mil travel bike. Okay. Since it came with a new spring clip, I'm going to go ahead and use it. Some people like to wear gloves to do this work. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's always hard to say. Right now it'd be nice. Got that stuff on my hand, making this a little unfun to open. Okay. This thing is not complicated to put back. Slide it on, position it in, Press it in and you'll hear it lock. Take your flathead screwdriver, just double check. Push everywhere. Make sure it's locked into place. Once you do that, give it a tug. Preference of mine, not a requirement. I'm going to take this nut crush washer off. I also keep stock of brand new crush washers, but since we're doing this, it comes with a new one. I don't have to use one of my other ones. Alright, so next step, just inspect the lowers, see how we're doing. Everything looks good. Again, this thing was just serviced, so there's not a lot to do. I mean, we are talking just serviced, so. All right, line this thing up. Okay, get them in place. It's actually often easier to do when they're straight down, but that was pretty simple. Okay, we want to leave a little room because right now we're going to put the fluids back in them, and this fork will be fresh service lowers. Because I'm just doing the change in an oil service, I'm not going to be doing anything crazy around the I didn't do new gaskets or anything. All right, so on the air side, we need 10 of the gold. These things wear out all the time. I just get new ones. And on the damper side, we need 40 of this 5-weight with Teflon. Okay. Slide this in. So this damper design uses this fluid. So I tell people not to cycle the damper a bunch when they're doing this. Not a lot of purpose. So wipe any oil that's trying to drip. Now, if I were doing a full service, I'd have cleaned all this, but again, I'm just getting fresh oil in it. Okay, settle that down like that. Travel adjust is complete. This is now a 150 bike. Get your fresh crush washer in this side. I had it over there, it's now set in. Okay. Get your fresh stuff on this side, set this nut on. Trying to remember. Yep, so that's one of the changes. Need to grab the right socket. I didn't think it was the right socket. Now we're back to this. It's a 10. Yep. Okay. 2020 Fox 36 torque specs. .65 newton meters or 50 inch-pounds. torque wrench. It is good to torque these things. See, it's not a lot, but you want to make sure these parts are torqued. Okay, and two torque nuts. Okay. Look for your flat spot. That's where your set screw is going to go. 2mm Allen. Put your knob back on. Remember, it's just a grub screw, so you don't have to beat it to death. You just need to snug it. Put your cap on. There you go. That is actually pretty much all there is to doing a lower service. All right, so we have the bike part, air out. I'm going to be working over here. Hopefully you can still hear me well. Now what we need to do is take apart this. So 10mm axle shaft. I actually got the one from Vorsprung. Get this really good and tight. I already put it in. You saw me line it up earlier. Then you got to get this loose. Okay, that came pretty good. Okay, that's the new shaft for the Secus. So we're going to now take this out. We'll set this one aside. Take this one, get it in the clamps, slide those in the vise. Good and tight, because it's supposed to be, shouldn't be able to crush them, not if they built it right. Okay, we're going to take this. Now, they say on a factory one, you might have to heat them, so we're going to find out. Nope. Normally when something's clamped real well, that won't be a main requirement. So this goes pretty fast, you know, as far as getting all this set up. So you pull this out. Now you can see with the Secus, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but there's an air port through it. And then there's air ports through the sides, whereas the normal foot studs is gaskets and solid. I got a brand new 170mm air shaft, just double checking there. Okay, you're going to put this in. Put this in the vise. Tighten that up real good. If you hold your hand on the shaft, you go to loosen this. If it tries to turn, tighten it up a little more. You don't want to scratch the shaft by it spinning in there. Alright, so this one had nice Loctite red in there. You can see it left over. That's why it was tighter to pull apart. Okay. Run this back down in on a factory air spring. put together. Making sure everything's looking good. I'm gonna slick honey this up just like we did the last one. All right, so we're gonna line the brake back up. That way I can adjust this and then torque it up correctly. So I already have everything ready to go. If this doesn't work, I have I'll get this close enough for now. I actually have a rotor alignment tool. Sometimes the 4-piston SRAM brakes are a little touchy. Yeah, so we're touching just a little bit. This at least gets me in place so we can align this. So now what we want to do is get this thing clocked until it's pretty close, but you still want a little bit of room. You don't want the thing hitting it every little turn. I'm going to go with just a couple millimeters, see if I like it there. And then torque this thing up. Double check what the torque specs are. It is the same 50 inch-pounds that Fox used. That's nice, so you don't have to remember a special torque rating. The Secus is installed. So as you can see, I got a couple last things to do. I'm gonna pop this off, put 3 cc's of 20 weight gold in there, and then I'm gonna air it up, go through the process of setting the whole thing up. That is how you change. Take a Vorsprung Secus off of one fork and put it on a different fork. It's how you change out the foot stud so that you can move it between bikes, and it's not that difficult of a process. Hopefully everybody learned how to do it. You have an idea of what you need. I'll list all the tools below, and please like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'll be doing a lot more of this stuff, and I'll be able to help you maybe knock some really cool projects out on your bikes. Have an awesome day.